All right, so now that we have the flying guy in here, let's edit him a little bit. Hit Command T or edit free transform, like so, and we're gonna make him a little bigger. I want him at, I actually want him exactly 115%, so it's like this. You can eyeball it, or you can just type it in here. Hold on the little keychain here that keeps the proportions from width and height. All right, so something like this. I'm gonna have a little higher. Something like this is pretty good. Okay, hit return. And then I want to add some adjustment here. Let's do curves. All right, and I'm gonna make this lock to this next one. You can do that two ways. Either you hold down the Alt key, and you see that little icon changes, or you can just go in here and in here for this one, and you can boom, boom, boom. It is create clipping mask right here. Okay, so that means whatever curve this is only going to be applied to this layer. So pretty simple. All right, we're going to lighten up the whole thing quite a bit, and then we're going to go to the red and basically make it a little greener, something like this. Let's go to the RGB again, make it even lighter. So something like this, as much as you can, like so. Okay, and then we're going to add another one. Let's go to color balance, and once again, hold on the Alt key so it just goes onto this layer. All right, and then we're going to go to the shadows. Let's just make it a little bit less cyan and a little more blue, very, very light in the shadows. Don't want to go too heavy-handed. And then in the highlights, we can go a little more. I want to change those lights. Let's go much, much redder up here, something like this, and maybe a little greener. Yeah, I like that. Something like this. And bring it a little yellow. Quite a lot, actually. Let's go up here, something like this. Let's see before, after. Yeah, you see it's starting to blend a lot better already. So I like that. Okay, all right, let's leave it at that for now. So we have the guy in a position pretty good. The outline's pretty clean. We could come in here and clean that up a little bit, but for now, let's just leave that. Let's come and bring in some of the birds, okay? So just save this for now, Command S or Control S. Let's go to the Finder, and we'll have two seagull files. So let's just open those up. Here we go. All right, so the birds that we need this one, we use this one, and then both from the other image. So let's start with this one, which is the one that's most foreground. To do this, let's just try to outline him directly and see how well we can do. So take the quick selection tool over here and just go ahead and brush over him, and wherever you see you feel like you're missing something, just go ahead and add that. Okay. In this case, I'm not outlining the background simply because I don't want it to blend too much. Seems like more work as well. All right, so here's good. Add this, add his face and his beak. Okay, yeah, this does pretty well, especially when we're gonna actually end up blurring him a little bit, this little bird. So it doesn't matter if we get too detailed. It's nice to have good detail, but it doesn't have to be too crazy. Something like this. All right. Okay. Pretty happy with that. Maybe add this bit here. Okay. Once that's done, zoom out a little bit and select and mask. And here we can see, okay, we need a little edge detection. So just add a bit of that. Maybe shift the edge a little on the inside so that we don't have that white outline. Maybe a little more of this, a little more of this. That's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Maybe a little less edge. Oh, I shifted the edge too much. Let's do -25 and a little less of this. Okay. All right. Pretty happy with that. Hit OK. And I can't just create a mask now because I have this. I'm going to have to make a copy of this, like so, and then create a mask. All right. And we can go ahead and just bring this in. So just, let's zoom out a little bit. And let's move this one out of the way. And it's back here. So once we're here and you're on this right layer, just bring it in here. There we go. Okay. Let's place him around here, and let's convert this guy into a smart object. like so. Command T. All right, it only takes him, so that's perfect. And what we're going to do is we're going to rotate him just a little bit. I feel like he's coming down a little too strong. So something like this. And let's move him up here. I think he's a little too big. Let's bring his wing somewhere here like this. Still feel like he's really big. Maybe something like this. I like that. That's better. All right, hit return. Happy with that. Again, non-destructive because it's a smart object. And let's call this Seagull 1. Okay. And a couple of things we're going to do. We're going to blur him a little bit. So go to blur and Gaussian blur. And let's do 2 pixels. It's a little too strong. Let's do 1 pixel. Okay. And then go to levels. Again, it's a smart object, so it's going to add a levels effect. And in this case, bring up the white point. We really want to darken that because everything else has a very darkened white point. It's a little contrasty, so let's bring this dark point a little bit lower and see if we lower maybe, his midtones are pretty good. Let's just leave it around there. Something like that. Hit OK. Now we're going to add a new layer. We'll call this Seagull Color. All right. And let's put this in multiply mode and create a clipping mask over here. And let's pick a color. So eyedropper tool, hit I for eyedropper. And I want a color, a bit of a green, something like this green right here. I'm just going to fill it in. All right, now that's way too strong. So let's bring this down to 50%. I could even go higher than that. Let's do 70. So it darkened it considerably. I might have to go back to my levels here and loosen that a little bit. Might have gone a little too strong because I want some of that color, but I darkened it a little too much. So let's bring this back to 1 and this a little lower like this so that I can bring my opacity of this a little stronger. 80 is too much. Let's do 70. 70 is good. I'm happy with that. And so we're kind of blending. So I took a color from here, I put it in multiply, which means that it's just adding that color to this. All right, so that was pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. And let's go to the seagulls again. Not this one, this one. And this time, let's take this one here. All right, same as last time. Take this tool over here, and let's just select him. Oh, can we go a little bigger? Something like this, here, like so. Try not to go over the edge because it will sometimes bleed through and find other things that you do not want. So when I change the size, I always change the size of the brush using Control and Alt. Once you get used to that, it works really well. Okay, like so and so. Oh, see there, I went a little over the edge and it started taking a bunch of stuff I do not want. So this is going to be a little bit more annoying to outline. Okay, and here, add this, and so. Take this little hole out with the Alt key. Okay, add a little here. Yeah, this one's a little more complicated because the edge, some of these edges are not as contrasted and as defined. Oop, undo that. I accidentally had the Alt key on there. All right, Alt keys for the water to minus out. So something like this. Okay, I'll have to, some of this is going to have to be edited in the refine edges, or the select and mask as it's called now. If you only see refine edges, that means you have an older version of Photoshop. Recommend you get the new one. There's always good upgrades, updates, and very useful. Okay, so in here we go, something like this. Now select and mask, and then let's just zoom out a little bit. Let's give it a little radius, a little more. Let's shift the edge a bit. And I'm going to take the refine edge brush here, and I'm just going to say right around here by the wing, you know, there's some transparency. Ooh, a little too strong. Let's make that smaller. It's right here and here, maybe a little up here. Okay, let's give it a little more like this. I feel like that can work. That can work pretty well. Let's hit OK on that, and then let's turn that into a mask. and go ahead and move this into here. Okay, once again, right click, convert to smart object. Let's call this Seagull 2. All right, and let's bring him over here, make him smaller as well. These birds are supposed to help the illusion of him flying as opposed to falling, so these birds help with that. Something like this, and then once again, Command L, or up here, adjustments, levels. Let's bring in his white point a little bit, down with the black point. I want to keep some light, but not too much. I can just go ahead and duplicate the seagull color, so Command J, or if you want a new, layer via copy. That's how I did that. So don't need it just once. Bring it up above here, and then hold down the Alt key, and make a mask. And there we go. Now we have that same color effect that we have on this one. See before and after. So that's pretty cool. The edge is could use a little love, so I'm going to go ahead and blur him a little bit. Here, Gaussian blur. And this guy I'm actually going to do 2 because I feel like he's a little further away. Maybe a little more, 1.5. Let's do 1.5. Something like that. The edge still could use a little work, so I'm going to double click on here. It's going to open up the smart object, and just temporarily I'm going to make a layer behind it and fill it for default, fill it with black so I can see this edge. And now I'm going to essentially try to blur this out a little bit, or take a brush, very soft brush, okay, and on the mask brush black, which means I'm hiding. So I'm basically softening this whole edge here. I don't like some of that white coming through. Okay, let's go 20% opacity up here, so it's very, very light. I don't want to go too heavy-handed, like so. Okay, hide this and save. Whoop, I hit Command D. Command S, and there we go. We see the difference right away. Cool. Close that, and that's good. Let's go and get the other seagulls right here. So these two actually are going to keep together. And so let's just outline the blue. That'll be the easiest, or should be. So I could see maybe doing an outline using the channels might actually be more productive in this case. So this blue channel is pretty good. Let's try that. So you command click on the blue. All right. It's inverted, so hit Command Shift I. All right. So that means select inverse selection. So instead of it being the outside, it's now the inside. And then let's go to Quick Mask and edit this mask. I'm going to hide the blue, or show it like this. Hit Command L. So I'm going to hide this so we can see what we're doing. Command L. So I'm doing the levels of the Quick Mask. All right. I want some of these white points all around here to kind of disappear, and I need this to be stronger. So I'm going to darken everything like so. Okay. Something like this. Hit OK. Now I'm going to take the dodge tool right here, and I'm going to say midtones. I really want highlights. 50% is fine. And what I'm doing right now is I'm just dodging all this gray that I don't want. So I'm manually going in here. We can just bring it up to 100% for now. Something like this. Okay. And I'm going to do it all around, and hopefully I'm going to come out with a decent outline of these birds. Last time I did this on these birds, last time I outlined it, I used a magic wand, but I like to test this. Sometimes the channels gives you the best outlines because it's using the pixels of the image, and a little better than magic wand sometimes. Let's try it out. Go like this. So I'm dodging everything that is essentially blue originally in the image, the sky, trying to keep everything else kind of in there. What's nice is some of this blurred, like we would never have had this clean sort of blurred outline. Hopefully if it works, we'll see in a second. So yeah, just using the dodge tool to get rid of what I don't want. Selected. Something like this. All right, it's a little meticulous, but it's also pretty satisfying getting this outline here like this. All right. Like so, and remember, I'm on highlight, so it shouldn't affect too much of the shadows of the midtones, maybe a little tiny bit, but barely, which is how this is working. Something like this, something like that. We might have to blur this bit after, but all right, let's try this and come out of Quick Mask, so like so. And then let's make a, well, we could just do this like this. All right, so that looks pretty good. Let's see what it looks like when we bring it in to our image over here. Oh, it was, I had a clipping mask already, so that it got tugged into that. So just hit the Alt key to undo that, and that works. All right, let's go ahead and shrink these. It's pretty nice. I like that blur that we got there. Pretty happy with that. All right, I want these to be much smaller. I want these to be further away. Something like this is pretty good. All right, now the coloring is not great, so I'm going to turn this into overlay. All right, and that tends to clean that up a little bit. It's still a little too contrasty. Let's convert this to a smart object and call this Seagulls 3 and 4. And let's do like what we did earlier, levels. Let's bring in the white point a little bit and the dark point. And I want it to be a little less contrasty. They're also further away, so they're theoretically behind some haze, something like that. Okay, let's move. I'm not crazy about this little thing right here. Let's move this a little down like that. I like that better. Now this white is a little too strong, so let's go back in levels, bring it up even more, something like that. That's a little better. And that blur kind of works in there. I like it. It's supposed to be a little further away. Okay, good. And if we want to, we could add a little bit of Gaussian blur. Let's just do 1 because they were pretty blurry. Okay, something like that. I don't really need to add the green because they're in overlay mode, so that color kind of seeps through. And yeah, so we have those birds, and we've added the green to the coloring of the birds, so that's nice and clean. And all right, so we're going to add some lighting and a little more color blending, and we're almost done.